Alright, so what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper and welcome back to another video. What I have for you guys today is going to be the Darkest Shore full Easter egg guide. Now, you actually have a lot on your plate during this Easter egg. This is quite different than what we're traditionally used to with other Easter eggs, so be prepared for a ride. But with that also being said, I'm going to explain each and every step very thoroughly so you understand it and can repeat these in multiple games and you'll know what's going on. And now also with that, if you guys end up enjoying this video, if this guide helps you out at all, a like rating will be very much appreciated before we get started. We'll go for 500 likes. That's something that you guys could probably get. And subscribe to this channel if you are brand new. I'll have plenty more World War II content up on the channel coming very soon. A lot of Easter egg guides and things of that nature. And a few things you need to know before we get started. This Easter egg, I'm going to recommend to you at least one more player. It can be done solo, and in fact, I've almost completed solo. I've gotten to the second sequence of the boss fight, but I just can't seem to get past it. Like I said, this is a very different Easter egg than what we're used to, and I'm gonna recommend at least one more player. Co-op runs do this Easter egg great. Whatever you decide to do, though, the steps are gonna be just the same. So once you're aware of that, we are good to go, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first things that you need to have in place are kind of the basics, you know, be able to build the saw, get the two pieces for that, turn on the power, and then of course get the first part of the radio, which is just laying on the ground right outside of spawn. Pretty easy basic stuff to do, and assuming you know how to upgrade this saw as well, this is where we're actually going to begin starting these steps. Once the saw is upgraded initially, you can take this saw and you're going to want to go above this bunker, and you're going to see a guy hanging under a sign that says traitor on it, and you need to shoot this guy with the saw so that his head comes clean off. And then when you pick up this guy's head, this is going to be known as the corpse head in your inventory, and once you got that, you can take that over to the U-boat pens where this door is with this hanging man, and then place the head on the gate. Now, before you even attempt this next step, make sure you at least have somewhat of a decent gun. I like to run the bacon and eggs. Now, in the U-boat room, you're going to see these 3 red valves that are across the map. There's only 3 of them. There's one right there, right by the staircase. There's a second one by the minecart station, and then a third one on the left of the wall over here. And from this point on, when you kill close enough to these batteries where that hanging man is, it's going to collect the energy from those zombies and power up those batteries. And as soon as the head gate actually turns on, you see the energy, and the hanging guy comes alive and starts talking. This is where you need to get into position and things get real. So essentially how this step works, I see a lot of people getting confused on this. There's only 3 valves and you need to make sure that they're all turned off, and it's really easy to do. You just kind of do it like the final right power where you hold square on it and you just let it go all the way through and it turns off. But the only catches here is that if you're standing on the fire panel, you're obviously going to get damaged. So I recommend you have full armor, because if you're standing on it right when it lights up and you just go for it right away, you're actually able to deactivate it without dying. But be very careful, as it is a little bit risky. But it doesn't really matter who you assign what valves to. You know, you can do them all by yourself or have one per person. It doesn't really matter at all. You just need to make sure that all the valves are turned off. Now, all I'm doing right here is waiting patiently for the fire panel to actually extinguish, because the flames do go away. You only need to wait it out, and when it does go away, that is your opportunity to jump onto the valve and get that turning time on it. And then once all 3 valves are deactivated, you're done with that step, and you can go up to that hanging man and hold square, and he should start to give you a little quote. The door will begin to turn as a contraption moves and the chains pull on him, and you get to watch his rather gruesome death. I gotta give Sledgehammer some props for this one. This was pretty disgusting, but well done there. So anyways, once he is dead, it's going to open up the door, the secret door that's behind him, and then one of those thick boys is going to spawn. You know what I'm saying? These big boy Brenners, and he's really easy to drop. Just go ahead and kill him and you're good to go. Now, the next thing you need to do is take the minecart system from the beach and ride this up. And there's going to be bomber zombies, but don't kill any of them. Let them blow up on you. So you see this little hole in the wall open up, hold square on it, and it should let you in. This is the ancient door in the ancient room that we're going to refer to later. And you're looking for a monk head that's laying in the bottom right corner. It will always be in this location. You're going to need to pick up that monk head and then bring it over to the machine behind the secret door that you were just at. Place the monk's head down on the top of this machine, and at this point, don't do anything just yet, because when you've initiated this, the German planes are going to come through and start bombing the island, and you're going to probably want to have one player hold a zombie, and then you, if you're going to be the gunner or whoever it is, go over to this specific gun that I'm at right here, because you can actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone during this step. Now, your job is going to be to shoot down the German planes that are obviously flying over this island, and also, you saw that rock that I just shot right there. If you need to go back and check it out, it's literally right right in front of the gun, but blow up that stone that's in front of you, and that's going to be important later, as it will spawn in the first son of Nerthus, and that's going to be the pagan statues used to access another part of the secret room, but more on that later. Right now, we're just worried about shooting down the German planes, and once you shot down enough, you should get a notification that they're all done. Now, go back to the beach, and that sun I was talking about earlier is going to be this small statue that was laying down. Go and pick that up, and then bring that into the ancient room, and drop the pagan statue in this slot in the door, and then once you've done that, that's 1 out of 3 to actually get that stone open, and you can go ahead and move on to the next ones. Now, one of the German planes that you shot down, one of the pilots crashed into the side of the mountain, and he's holding a radio part. Shoot that down with your ripsaw and go and pick that up. That will accompany the other radio part that you picked up at the beginning of the game. But don't place this on the radio table just yet. You're going to want to hold on to this stuff until you're absolutely ready. Now, at this point, I recommend you try to get the second son of Nerthus, and this is the probably most tricky one. These steps might seem a little bit out of order, but I'm trying to improve your workflow as much as possible and just get things done in the most efficient and effective way. So you should notice these rocks on the side of the cliff that are a little bit different textured than the rest of them, and they are just a bit odd looking and they stick out a bit. And these rocks you actually need to shoot with your saw, and when you shoot them, one of them will release the son of Nerthus, but there's a lot of spawns for these rocks, and in this gameplay I'm trying to show you as many as I possibly know. When you hit one of the rocks correctly, it should kind of explode and crumble like you just saw right there, but trust me, there are a ton of locations and they can be placed all over this mountain. So I'm just trying to show you all the ones that I personally know. But if you're still having trouble and you can't find it, I'm going to have a link in the description to probably maybe a Reddit post that has it or something like that. Just something that's going to help you guys further, because I honestly don't think that all of the known locations have even been found yet. I'm not sure because I don't know of all of them. But here's the one that I hit in my game that actually ended up dropping the sun. And it's going to be that exact statue that you saw first of all when we shot down that big rock with the flat gun. So same thing you would do for this one. Pick up the stone, take it right to the ancient room, put the pagan statue in its slot, and then you're good to go. So at this point, the sky should be clear and you're good to call in your artillery loader. Now, go up to this machine and hold square. It should call in a bomber that's holding a really big battery instead of its traditional bomb. So what you're basically doing here is you notice the big AA gun that's aiming out the side of the bunker on this map, and it needs power in order to fire. This is the one that you can adjust the angle, the elevation, all that sort of stuff, but the only problem is that it's missing its battery, and this is how you bring it over there. So this is going to be a very, very basic escort thing, and a couple things you need to know about this is, number one, he does not take damage from your bullets at all, so feel free to spray him with bacon and eggs because zombies will be attacking him during the step. He will die from 2 Whistler strikes from what I understand, so you don't want to let them get too close, but it's a very, very easy run through nonetheless. You want to drop an insta-kill, do what you got to do, but he will take this route all the way up to the AA gun and drop his battery in there, and then he'll die. And what your job to do from here on out is to get enough kills to charge this battery so that you can run and start firing this AA gun. Now, once you're at this point, then you want to go ahead and drop the radio on the table, and this will initiate the boat step. There's a reason why I didn't want you to put it on earlier, is because if you call in the boats too soon, it makes the escorting a pain, and nobody really wants that. Dr. Straub should start talking to you again, and he's saying that he's going to bring his boats over towards you to shell the island, and that's exactly what they do. And if you're not careful, these boats can take you down with their missiles, so be very, very cautious. But this next step is really fun, so enjoy it. You're basically going to be taking this AA gun and aiming it correctly to take down the boats that are approaching the island. Now, I'm also going to have a couple recommendations for the step. Really, they're just eyeball it about how much distance and angle you need. There is a key that the game tries to give you on the side of the AA gun, but you know, with distances and angles and elevations about how many meters out it is, but it's very, very inaccurate, so don't use it. What the best tool you have is to listen to your character quotes. That's either going to tell you higher or lower, or it needs to be to the left or what have you, depending on where your shot is at. But just this step is actually a lot easier than you might think it is, and it does give you a little bit of mercy while you're shooting these things too. So on a 4-player game, you're going to need to shoot down a total of 3 boats, but if you're playing solo or 2-player, you only need to shoot down 2. I'm not really sure about a 3-player game because I've never actually ran that on here, but I know on solo you only need you only need 2 boats, 2 players, 2 boats, and then 4 players is going to be 3 boats. Once you keep that in mind, once all of the boats have been shot down from this artillery gun, you should get a little notification pop up saying that you're done with that. And congratulations, you made it this far. You've pretty much finished what is the last of the easy steps, and this is where the little more complicated parts of this Easter egg come in, but it's a lot of fun, trust me, and as soon as you get through these steps, it will be boss fight time. Right now, we're going to go ahead and get the final Son of Nerthus so we can go ahead and start beginning the ritual challenges. Now, what I want you to do is harvest a regular zombie spine. And when you obtain this, you should see the little charge icon at the bottom. Bring it to this bucket and hold square or X if you're on Xbox. And this crane is going to reach down and bring you a regular zombie. Now, there's going to be nothing different about the zombie. He's not going to attack you, however. He's going to be running straight for the beach. Now, to this day, I'm not really sure if you have to defend him or he just goes on his own path because he doesn't have an escort health meter, so I don't know if he can die or not, but other zombies sometimes seem to chase him. I'm still a little bit iffy on that stuff, but just guard him just in case. And he's gonna run back to spawn, and once he hits the beach, our boy is gonna run straight into that bloody water, go completely submerged, and he's gonna return just a few seconds later with the last Son of Nerthus that we need. It's gonna be in his arms. He will bring it to the top of the beach where you can pick it up at, and he's just gonna die and then leave it on the ground for you. And you guys know the whole story from here. You guys know what to do. Just go ahead and pick that thing up and then bring it, the last pagan statue, over to the door at the ancient room, and that should open up, roll away the stone that was in place. Now, the first time you open it, there's going to be 3 of these Meckler zombies that are just sitting there kind of doing a little ritual. They won't be expecting you, so open the door and just start swinging, honestly. Guns a-blazing, pop whatever you need to, a shell shock or a free fire, but take these things down and get very comfortable and familiar with this room because we're going to be revisiting it quite a bit, and we're going to be in here for probably pretty long periods of time as well. So now we need to do 3 different challenges along with 3 different sacrifice rituals for each. And now, side note, just keep in mind that these challenges can be done in any single order you want to, but for the sake of this video, we're going to go in this order. We're going to go ahead and start with the whistling zombie ritual because I feel like this is probably one of the easiest and simple to understand. So the first thing you want to do is obviously obtain a whistling charged spine out of one of those zombies. And once you obtain the spine, you're going to bring it down to that bucket where the monk is that we used a little bit earlier, drop that in there, and you should get a small indicator on your screen letting you know that you're beginning this step. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a friendly whistling zombie from that crane, and you need to escort him to a very, very specific set of perks in order. Now, I cannot stress this enough. You need to take the route that I'm taking right now so that he doesn't touch any other perks along the way. You can sort of move him how you want to as long as you maneuver. Now, the perk set that you're going to want to have is double tap, slappy taffy, or the melee damage perk that's in the AA bunker, and then stamina up and quick revive. And as you can see right here, you just want to walk him up to your first perk, which is double tap, bring him to this. He should lock onto the perk and it will shock his hand just like it would be if you were buying a perk. And this was the step that a lot of people were glitching out on during the release of this game and when this map came out pre-patch. So if you run into any issues, this is probably why. There might be still a few bugs here left over, like his pathing can be a little bit weird and sometimes he just dies out of random. But right after you grab stamina up, he should be walking a little bit faster, a little bit funny, and when he grabs his last perk, which is quick revive, if you've done this right, he'll go into this little hole in the wall here where the water is falling down. He will disappear, and that challenge is actually done. Now, you and your team need to go back to the ancient door into the sacrifice room, and the door should shut. You need to kill both the friendly whistling that we just had along with a bunch of other ones, and when that friendly one does die, pick up the anointed head and then place it on one of these hooks. It should go down here and you've performed one of these sacrifices successfully, and then you may leave the room once again. Now, the second challenge we're going to go ahead and do is the Meckler spine. These can be quite tricky to get, so take your time on it, but once you manage to obtain one, go ahead and drop that in the bucket as well, and it should begin the next challenge. Now, what this is going to be is essentially a big game of hide and seek. It's going to make the fall roll in, and you're looking for a friendly Meckler that's going to be curled up in a ball, and he's going to be screaming. Now, this is where you and your team probably need to be a little bit quieter to listen for the sounds, because that's going to be your biggest clue, as you cannot see too much at all. But a lot of the popular spawn points for him is going to be at the beach, on the side of the mountain that I'm at right now, by Pack-a-Punch, by the AA gun. There's a whole bunch of like corner spots around this area of the map that he can be in, but like I said, you just need to use your ears and listen out for where he can be. But when you see him, just shoot him with a gun, hit him with a nade, whatever you got to do. Just make sure you put some damage on him and scare him away so he runs. And there's also going to be some non-friendly Mecklers that are spawned into this boss fight as well, or not this boss fight, but this challenge, and they'll be trying to mess you up during this, so just be kind of mindful of that. And they start attacking you, that's not the one you need. But you need to do this 3 times. Once you've managed to find him in all 3 different locations, and assuming that you've actually survived this, because it does get a little bit tricky if you don't shut it down soon. But when you manage to find all 3 of the friendly Mecklers and you shoot them, like he can be curled up right here as well, then that actually challenge should be done, and then you can go ahead and sacrifice the Meckler in the ancient room that we were just over at. This sacrifice is going to be a little bit tougher because there'll be a lot of mechlers spawning in at once, so I recommend you pop a shell shock here. Maybe if you're running the one that has triple damage, it's super useful for the step and something that I highly advise. But once you end up killing the friendly mechler along with the rest of these, because there's going to be probably about 5, 6, 7 of them, really depends on how many players you have in your game, but take them all out, drop the anointed head on this hook over here on the left, and you're good to go there. Now, the last pest challenge sacrifice can be a little bit confusing, so just bear with me and follow along here. When you call them in, you'll get the indicator, and you need to bounce your ripsaw blades off some different charged fuses in order to do this. You need to do this a couple of different times. Now, the first thing you want to do is angle it right here, bank it off the blue fuse, and hit him when he's in this exact location. That's the first one. You don't need to get it anywhere else. That's the first one out of the way, you know, spot on. Now, the second one, bounce it off of these yellow fuses in this angle. It should hit that side, bounce off the purple ones on the ceiling, and then hit him right there. You just need to bank it off too, and that is your second one down and good to go. Now, the third one's pretty easy. Once he runs down from this mountain, you're going to aim up towards the side at this blue mountain where the box of charged fuses are. Hit that one, and then bank it off the yellow one that's on the side of the bunker, and then it will turn green, hit the zombie, and then that one is your third one right out of the way. Now, the fourth is going to be, you need to bank it off all 3 of the charges by the AA gun bunkers, and you want to start off with this yellow one when he's coming through the hallway, coming out of the bunker. So hit the yellow one, bounce it off the blue, and then hit the purple, and then it should make contact right there. He'll turn like a sort of blackish smoky color. Now, the final one is a little bit tricky. This is the most one that you need the precise timing. When he's by the actual like wall by for the trap itself, when you can activate it, when he's standing there, you get his pathing down. You want to bank it off the one that's right by the power where you initially turn it on. There's these yellow fuses right here. I'm showing my buddy where they're at, and he's actually going to bank it off those fuses, and when you hit that pest, that should give you the indicator, and you'll be good to go, and you can move on with the actual sacrifice of this pest step. Now, this is the challenge that actually lets you be the most creative in how you complete it. So if you're struggling a little bit, just kind of think outside the box, and you'll be able to get it done. Just communicate with your teammates, and you'll be able to work through it. But once you all done that, we'll go head over back to the ritual room and do the pest sacrifice. Do exactly as we've been doing before. Go ahead and kill all the pests, including the friendly one, and once you find the anointed head, place that on the top right hook, or one that doesn't have one on it. It should let you place it. The stone will roll away from the door, and you can go ahead and leave that area. Now, we need the final sacrifice before the boss fight. Pick up the monk's head back from that area and put it on the last hook that remains. Once all 4 heads are on, now you need to fill up the blood in the middle of this room, and this kind of is a little throwback to the Exo Zombies map Infection, where you gotta fill up blood in this certain area. So just basically, you need to get a load of kills here. I'm not sure how many it is, but it is quite a bit, so just take your time, and this is honestly where it gets a little bit hectic. But you're gonna kill with either you or your teammate until the statue starts crying blood, and there's too much blood to fill up the like right in the middle here, and then you know you've done this right when the statue gives you the pommel. This is a tactical grenade that will replace jack-in-the-boxes if you have them in that slot. Just a little bit of a heads up, but essentially what this is, it's like a big airburst thing that you can put down on the ground. It's sort of like an area of effect kind of grenade. It's really hard to describe, but just play around with it and you'll get used to it. It's a kind of nice tactical to have, especially for the boss fight. Now, last thing you do before you go is throw the pommel grenade at this radio, and it will let you interact with it, but don't do it just yet until you're ready. This is where I recommend you set up for a boss fight in terms of guns and everything you need, and plan out your strategy. Now, the basic strat I'm going to tell you to run before you get in here is run the 4 perks that I have: Quick Revive, Speed Cola, Stamina Up, and Double Tap. That's going to be like the basic co-op setup that you're going to want to run. Now, guns, I usually go with the bacon and eggs, and either the SVT, the Gewehr, or even the 9mm, which is actually crazy. The 9mm is so good, and people sleep on it, so just decide whatever you want to run, but I'm going to highly advise these guns. In terms of specialist, I would say you need, if you're running a 4-player game, have somebody, 3 people with Shell Shock, and probably 1 person with Frontline. You're not going to really need camo. It's not even that good in solo anymore, so I wouldn't run it, but I would greatly prefer Shell Shock. And now, once you have all that stuff set up, you're good to go. I need every single player in your game, or maybe if it's just you, go up to this the radio, and everybody hold square at the same time, and it will throw you into the boss fight. Now, once you've arrived here, you will get this small cutscene showing you what's going down, and you're going to have a bunch of mechlers in the fog attacking you, and these are going to be like no other. They're going to be extremely powerful, a little bit better, and they have a saw blade attack, like along with a little glowing fuse on them as well, so they're a little bit easier to see in the fog. But these are absolutely brutal, and they will tear you up if you're not careful. Now, the way this boss fight works is a little different than all the others. There's not one big main boss, but you're going to need to fight off all of these mechlers in 4 different sequences. There's going to be one here at the beach to start out with. You're going to need to fight your way through this, and then the second one, you're going to hop on to the minecart when the fog clears and you're able to use it. Now, it will let you know when it's available, but you can hop on that it, it will take you over to the U-boat area where a Brenner is going to be there to meet you right at first, which is you're going to want to drop in as soon as possible, and then to do the exact same thing that you're doing at the beginning, but this time the catch is that the floor is going to be lighting on fire as well. This is probably the toughest sequence, so I would say that this is where you really need to focus up. Use your specialist, drop consumables if you have it, and really be communicating with your team and reviving each other, as that is going to be so crucial. It's probably the hardest sequence out of all of them, to be honest, and this is where I always end up dying on solo. I cannot get past this one. Eventually I will, but sequence 2, this one, the U-boats right here with the fire pits, it just seems to be impossible, and still working on the strat. I'll fix it, but when you're playing with co-op and you're able to revive each other, it's a little bit easier, but you need to defend yourself and each other from these mechlers, and when you've cleared them out, you go back over to your thing. You should know when you're able to leave the area. And also, by the way, and when you're in between sequences on the minecarts, you're going to get rewarded with the max ammo each and every single time, so don't worry about that. But the third sequence takes place up here on the top floor, kind of like on the top of the mountain by the AA gun. This is where I feel like you have the biggest amount of square footage, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have the advantage at all, because the fog is heavy, and it's very thick, and they will be able to sneak up on you, because there's going to be multiple of them, and it's going to get a little crazy and hectic, especially with other zombies on the board. I'd say that this is the one that can cause you the most amount of struggle if you're not communicating and coordinating, but the good thing is that while you're here, you are able to buy double tap if needed. That is available, as well as armor, but a lot of sections of the map that you cannot go will be blocked off, so just be mindful. But armor and double tap are pretty much all you need. I'd recommend hanging around the stations to refill as much as you want, but this is going to be probably one of the tougher ones that you're going to play against. And it's same old stuff. I don't need to show you this entire gameplay, but basically when you end up wiping the rest of these mechlers from this sequence, you will go on to the final one, which will be over at the beach where you started. This is the part where it gets the most intense, and you're going to have to bring your A game here. No slacking on this part, because they're going to throw everything they have at you as well. Now, being thrown those pommel grenades, put out as much damage as you can, and be getting those reses on your teammates if they're down. You don't want anybody out of the action, because you need as much firepower as possible. This is a tough sequence, not going to lie. And, like, as you can see, they keep running away as you're shooting them, but when you'll know that you finally killed one, when he falls on the ground and he doesn't get back up. That's how you know that one's down. And once you're able to kill all of these mechlers, then you should get a black screen, and that should trigger the cutscene. Congratulations, you got your trophy and you beat the Darkest Shore Easter egg. So feel free to, you can watch your cutscene play out, and you've completed. So congratulations, guys. If you ended up enjoying this video, this was a crazy hard guide to make, and I honestly didn't think that it would take me this long to put this all together, but this is a hard one, not gonna lie. And I hope this was informative. I hope it helped. If it did, guys, make sure you leave a like. That'd be awesome. Subscribe to this channel if you are brand new. And other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.